Hi everyone, welcome to the next part of this double page from Rita Berman's Asian book, and we are working our way through the lovely ladies, and then we will do the accessories and other bits and pieces on the pages. So we are on this lady today, so she's a little bit near the centre, but we'll do best to make her easy to see. There she is. Okay, so I'm not really sure what this is on her head. I don't think it's attached to this bit of greenery. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with her. So I'm going to do it as part of her, but as I say, I don't know what it is. But anyway, let's make a start on her hair. I thought we could do a sort of brownish colour hair for her, and then we can figure out what colour to do the clothing. This is the brown ochre. It's a nice warm and lightish brown, which I'm going to use for the whole of her hair, and then we can put a darker colour in certain places. I think it's going to be a little bit tricky colouring around these bits and pieces, so you may wish to make sure your pencil is very sharp. Get very close, use your magnifying glasses or glass, whatever you might have, if you think you need to. I probably do, but I haven't got it in here, my magnifying glasses, so I just have to hope that it works. I'm sure it will be all fine. I always find it a bit odd when we just got like dots. I mean, what's that? You know. And it may make sense on some pages if it's sort of magic or snow or blossoms, but when it's on a hair piece, I'm a bit confused. But anyway, we'll just colour it in, and I'm sure it will all be fine. Right, now I've got to go around the leaf here. Oops, there we go. And there we are. Just trying to make sure I get it all down fairly evenly, and don't worry too much. It's hair after all, no one has completely even coloured hair. That's quite a nice colour, I think, but that's not going to be it. Just going to make my space on my desk to put my pencil down. Now I'm going to go a fair bit darker, I think. Yeah. I might go for this one, the Van Dyck brown. It's not as dark as some, but it's fairly dark. There we go. And what we will do, let's put her in the middle a little bit more, is use it particularly at the bottom. I'm not using it too hard. Not at this point anyway. I just want some bits a little bit darker, all the way on the edge. We can leave a bit of a shine, maybe here. Gosh, the wind is building up outside. I think we're supposed to have some sort of very high winds at this time of the day. But my family are out, I hope they're going to be okay. But they're not too far away. They're in the car. They should be alright. They're not, they haven't gone in any... They won't be driving in any sort of exposed areas. I think it's really where the wind cuts across a road or something when it gets really bad. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm going to do a little bit from the top. But you can see how I'm colouring. You can see the actual lines. And I think that's good because it looks more like hair, rather than a sort of block of colour like the blonde was. Well, in fact, like all of the others were. This one looks a little bit more like you can see strands. There we go. Yeah, I think we'll forecast thunder, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Now her face. I quite like the idea of doing this, colour. It won't let me. This is the dark flesh, which is also known as salmon. For me, this isn't really salmon. It's quite a bit too pink. I'm going to do a really light layer because I find it can be a bit too overpowering. And you may prefer to do all these ladies with paler faces, because sometimes the ladies in kimonos will white their faces. Gosh, that's messy, isn't it? Gonna have to do another layer to try and tidy it up, so I'm just colouring in the other direction, hoping that helps it to look better. She looks very pink, doesn't she? I think I prefer the Prismacolor flesh tones, really. I'm going to do this cheek because they're for the pale flesh. As I said in the last video, I haven't really played with darker colours because they are you can do a beige, and then I can't remember the other colours, salmons and things. Right, I need to think of the dress colour. I always want to just go for pink. We're not going to do pink. We did do pink. Oh, excuse me. I could do purples. Yeah, I think I'll do some purples. To start with, at least, let's go for the really dark mauve and see where that guides us. So I'm going to do these loops and just do them, the loopy bit in this dark colour. I think I'm going to not make it, I was tempted to make it lighter at the top of the arc, but I think as it's printed on a fabric, it might make more sense to just be a flat colour. So I'm just going to block it in. Yeah, I think that'll work like that, and the same on the other side. And I'm thinking I might do those circles the same. That's what's going through my mind as I'm colouring. What colour do I do the circles? And also the flower in her hair. Do I do that this colour? Do I wait? And I think I'm going to wait and see what works. Because something lighter might work better, but I won't know yet until we've got a bit more done. I was looking at this absolutely gorgeous house now the other day. Now I love looking at houses for sale. I'm so nosy, and I was looking the other day. I was really tired, hadn't had a good sleep. I've told the story on a video, might have come out already, might not have, so I'm not going to tell again. Actually, I don't know if I have. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I was tired, and so I was looking at houses near where my parents live. Now, they don't live that far away from here, but I've always quite fancied the idea of having a little house or flat near them, just in case I needed to stay and help them with anything, and also to let the children live there because it's closer to where they go to. They'll be going to university. Well, for one of them it'll be closer, for the other one it won't make much difference, to be honest. Anyway, violet. I'm going to do the main dress, the main cape in this colour. I'm going to try and make it a little bit darker on the edge, so layer it up a bit more, and less as we go in. Anyway, I saw this absolutely fabulous looking house, which is about, I would say, 2 minutes walk from my parents' house. Now, they live in a street of 1960s semi-detached houses, which are worth a fair bit of money, but not ridiculous amounts. This house I was looking at was £1.5 million, so you know, not too expensive. And I was just fantasising and dreaming, you know how it is. And the house, wow, well, we had it only had 5 bedrooms, but it was in a terrace, a Grade 2 listed terrace of houses, Regency style houses, as is typical of that particular road. No parking on the road, on street parking, but in front of the house there was a a garden area, which I don't know who maintains it. I think it's a council maintained garden with flower beds and grass. It's very pretty. But they are then on the main road after that, a big busy road. But because it's sort of set back and you've got this garden, although you'll get the noise, you wouldn't, yeah. Big sash windows as well. And the kitchen had a big island in the middle, really huge. In the UK, our kitchens aren't generally that big. In fact, modern houses aren't that big because land is so expensive. So, for example, our house is up. So we've got 4 stories because it's cheaper to build up than out. Whereas I know in some countries like Australia, when my aunt moved there, the land was very cheap. So the houses were bungalows and they had lots of garden. It's quite the opposite here. So anyway, this house had 3 floors actually, because it's a townhouse, so it's quite tall. Yeah, I'm going to leave that for a minute and use the manganese violet for her dress. You'll have to believe me. So yes, it had a lovely kitchen, as I say, with an island. We haven't done our hands, have we? Anyway, we'll get around to those, with an island in the middle and all mod cons. There's a utility room and all that sort of thing. And there was a lovely big bright sitting room with about 3 windows letting in lots of light. It was a very long room. There was 3 sofas in it. It was enormous. And there was also that was the drawing room, sorry. There was also a sitting room which was painted in quite a dark colour and it looked really cosy. And they all had fires in which were lit just to make it look all nice and cosy. And there was loads and loads of bookshelves, lots of books in the sitting room, and it just looked like such a cosy little room for reading or doing whatever. And then there were various bedrooms. There was a dressing room and all sorts of things. But I was looking at this and then thinking, what I actually want is I don't want an enormous house with enormous rooms, because they take so much cleaning and looking after, and I guess if you could afford a £1.5 million house, you could afford a cleaner. Right, this is quite uneven because I'm using such a small pencil. I'm going to go over it, but what I want to try to do is make it a bit darker on the edge of the dress. So I'm going to go more layers here. So I figured out what I actually want is a house that's clean and tidy and neat all the time, and it is so difficult. With our new kitchen, we've got lots of storage, and when I clean the kitchen and tidy it, I can actually make it look almost completely clean and tidy. There might be the old newspaper hanging around, and that's about it. I can just make it look really nice. And so when I have guests over, the kitchen looks lovely. But the other rooms of the house, I don't have that. And it's because there's stuff, for want of a better word, stuff everywhere. We just don't have much storage for stuff. I'm thinking carefully now about the rest of the dress. I'm going to use this colour next. This is the purple violet. So I've fairly recently got my bookcase to store my art stuff, and I've also got a trolley which isn't so neat. But everyone else doesn't really have. My husband has a load of plastic storage boxes with his art stuff in, and it's just sort of piled up and it looks messy. But it's really hard to try and think about, I can do these as well, how to make it look neater. You know, because yes, if you had a cupboard, a sideboard, something like that, it would look better. But we haven't got space for these big pieces of furniture. So I'm really unsure what to do. And also, if we had a big house, we'd have more room for storage, but we just accumulate more, I'm sure. This is the blue violet. I think stuff fills the space you've got, you know. So I'm not sure. And I like where we live. This would be a second home if I was going to get, and obviously I can't afford I say obviously, I can't afford a second home, you know, so, and certainly not one that expensive. We live in quite an expensive part of the country anyway. My sister lives further north. It gets cheaper as you go up north, and her house is bigger than ours and worth less than half of the cost of our house, just because of the part of the country that she lives in. Now I'm thinking about this little handbag. Let's do her hands while I'm thinking. I'm going to use the dark flesh like I used for her face. It sort of makes sense, doesn't it? I'm going to do it quite lightly because it's quite a bright one, isn't it? So I could do the bag. I feel like it needs to be a similar colour to her outfit. I mean, it would be, wouldn't it? Maybe we could use... we could use the Delft blue, actually. That might work. But yes, it's... and then I started having ideas about, you know, if I bought the flat next door to our house and knocked through, because I went into my neighbour's house the other day. It's the reason I didn't sleep. She'd had a flood in the night, and we were helping her to try and clean up. And she owns one of the flats next door to her, and so it sort of extended the size of her house. And I think that got me thinking about a bigger home, as she has her office in, you know, one bit and that sort of thing. And I was thinking, that might be nice. But, and we have got flats next to us as well, which we could potentially do that with, but it's, no one's selling. And we've just, 2 houses actually have just sold in our little square, but they don't join ours, so it wouldn't work. But you know, it's a lot of money. And also we've done a lot with our house. I'm going to make the edge a bit darker. We've changed the windows to make them warmer. We've changed the front door and the back door, and we've changed the boiler. We've updated the kitchen, the bathrooms, all that sort of thing. If you buy a new one and they haven't done that, then that's work that you may potentially have to do. I'm just putting these sort of pleats into the bag, like that. And then we're going to do this little heart. I nearly went for a pink then, but I won't. I'll use the manganese violet again, because we've got pink on 2 of them, haven't we? And this is pinkish. Not really. Ish. So anyway, that was me dreaming about things. Now, hair. We've got a flower and leaves. I think I use this manganese violet for the centre of the flower. And then I'm going to do the petals in a mauve. Where's the mauve gone? There it is. Mauve, the petals. Now ideally I'd like to do them darker near the centre, but they're too little, so I'm just going to block them in. Now we've got leaves. I am going to grab a green, don't worry, I'm not going to try and stick with this colour scheme for everything. But yeah, I was actually woke up this morning thinking of business ideas. You know, I thought, well, if I want to get this £1.5 million house, I'm going to have to work at something. But yeah, I'm pondering. It's not going to stop what I'm doing here. I'm really unsure as to what to do with this. I'm just going to make it dark around there and light around there. Make that dark on the edge and shiny and leave it like that. I've got no idea. Just going to leave it like that. And then the leaves. We want a green that matches with these violets and things, and I think the hooker's green might do quite well. So no, it would be in addition to what I'm doing here, which is slightly problematic in that this takes up a lot of my time. So where I would find that extra time from, I'm not sure. But, you know, they do say work fills the time you've got. I'm not sure that's always true, but we'll see. it's just in the thought stage at the moment, do you know what I mean? I've got this idea, thinking about it, then starting to think about the practicalities of it with regards to, can I actually pull it off? How can I do it? And then you know, doing it and promoting it after. So it's just, you know, just bit by bit at the minute. It's not something I'm going to jump to very quickly, you know. But there is our next girl. Let's see if my remote control's working now, even though I didn't change the battery. No idea what's going on there. But there she is. I haven't done much shadow on any of these, shade shadow from the different layers of clothing or anything. I think I'm just quite happy keeping them reasonably simple. But there she is. The next girl, here. What's this on her head? No idea. We'll just colour it in and see what happens. But anyway, that's me done for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.